Last Tuesday, a 29-year-old man, was served divorce papers by my wife of 4 years, Brianna, who's 27, but she didn't deliver them herself. Her new boyfriend, Derek, 31, handed them to me right at my front door. "Brianna wants you out by Friday," Derek said, standing on my porch like he owned the place. "Find somewhere else to crash." I stood there, holding the papers, staring at the smug guy who'd clearly been sleeping with my wife for who knows how long. I just said, "Fine." He looked thrown off, probably expecting me to get angry, cry, or plead. Instead, I simply shut the door and got to work. The first call I made was to my lawyer. The second was to the bank. What neither Derek nor Brianna knew was that the house was in my name, and only mine. I bought it 2 years before our marriage with inheritance money from my grandfather. Brianna's name was never on the deed. At the time, we weren't married yet, and I just never added her later. Derek had been staying in my house for the past month, while I was away on a work trip. Brianna told me he was going through a tough time and just needed a place to crash. What a load of crap. So when he handed me those divorce papers and told me to find another place to stay, he was actually trying to push me out of my own home so he could move in full time with my wife. That wasn't going to happen. By Wednesday morning, I had every lock in the house changed. By the afternoon, I revoked Derek's access to all our shared accounts, Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime. Yeah, the guy had been using my subscriptions. Even worse, he was on my Jim's family plan, which cost me $89 a month. I canceled that too. Thursday evening, Derek came back, banging on the door. "What the hell, man? Why are the locks changed?" I responded from inside, "Because this is my house. Brianna can pack her things, but you need to find another place to live. She's my girlfriend now. We're together. Congratulations. Go be together. Somewhere else." He lost it, started yelling about how I was being petty, how they had rights, how I couldn't just kick them out, all while I stood inside calmly recording the whole meltdown on my phone. Later, I texted Brianna, "You have 48 hours to collect your belongings. Derek is not welcome here." She responded, "You can't do this. Derek lives there now." I replied, "Check the deed. He doesn't." The next morning at 9 a.m. sharp, Derek's lawyer showed up, a guy in a wrinkled suit with a battered briefcase. He introduced himself and said he was there to discuss my illegal eviction of Derek. I let him in just to hear the nonsense. He started with, "Mr. Patterson has been residing at your property for over 30 days, which establishes tenancy under state law." I showed him a video from Thursday night where Derek admitted he was Brianna's boyfriend, not a tenant. No lease, no rent, no tenant rights. He watched the clip of Derek yelling about how he and Brianna belonged together, and I could see the lawyer's expression go pale. Then I showed him the property deed, my name only, and security camera footage in the day before showing Derek trying to force his way into the house. The lawyer started taking notes, clearly trying to figure out how to walk this back. He said Mr. Patterson would like to retrieve his personal belongings. I told him everything's boxed up and waiting for him on the porch. "What about his financial contributions to the household?" he asked. I laughed. "What contributions? He's been living here for free. I've got bank statements that show he's paid zero for rent, utilities, groceries. Nothing." After he left, Brianna called me, furious. "You can't just throw Derek out. He has nowhere to go." "Not my problem anymore," I said. "If he's been helping with expenses, show me a single receipt, a bank transfer, anything." She said nothing. "Exactly," I said. "You're being vindictive. I'm being realistic. You want a divorce? Fine, but you don't get to kick me out of my house, so your boyfriend can move in." She hung up. 2 hours later, Derek came back with a U-Haul. I watched from the window as he loaded his Xbox, clothes, and even tried to take some furniture that wasn't his. I called the police just to be safe. An older officer showed up. He looked like he'd seen this exact situation 100 times. "Sir, is that your furniture he's taking?" he asked. "The gaming chair and coffee table are mine. The rest is his." Derek tried arguing with the officer, claiming he lived here and had rights to shared property. The cop stared at him. "Son, do you have any proof that you're a tenant or owner here?" "Well, no, but—" "Then you're trespassing. Take your stuff and leave." Derek had to unload the things that weren't his, right in front of my neighbors. The secondhand embarrassment was perfect, but I could already tell this wasn't over. I thought things would settle after that, but I was wrong. Yesterday, I came home from work and found the garage door wide open. Brianna's car was parked in my driveway. She had used her garage remote, and somehow she found a way inside the house. I walked into the house and found her in the kitchen like it was just another normal evening. She was chopping vegetables, acting like she hadn't flipped my life upside down. "What are you doing here?" I asked, already knowing I wasn't going to like the answer. She looked over her shoulder and said, "I live here too, remember? And I'm hungry. You handed me divorce papers." I reminded her, "This isn't your home anymore." She shrugged. "The divorce isn't finalized yet. Until it is, I still have a right to be here." I didn't argue. Instead, I got my lawyer on the phone immediately. Turns out she wasn't wrong. Technically, as long as we were still legally married, she had a partial right to remain in the home, but she couldn't bring Derek back into the picture. That was a line she couldn't cross. "Where's your boyfriend, anyway?" I asked. "Derek's staying at his buddy's place until we sort this out," she replied. "Good. He's not stepping foot in here again." Later that night, I overheard her whispering on the phone in the bedroom. "Just give me a few days," she said. "I'll convince him. He'll come around." Yeah, like hell I would. The next morning, I noticed something was off the moment I woke up. My laptop? Gone. My iPad? Also missing. And my watch? Vanished. I texted her immediately. "Where's my gear?" She replied, "What gear?" "My MacBook, my iPad, my watch. They were on my nightstand last night." "I don't know what you're talking about." So I checked the security footage. There she was, plain as day, loading my electronics into her car just after 6 in the morning. I called the police and filed a theft report. Same officer as last time. He actually sighed when he saw us. "You two again?" he asked as I showed him the video. Brianna tried claiming the stuff belonged to both of us, that it was marital property, and she had a right to it. The officer flipped through the receipts I had on hand. "These were all bought before you two tied the knot," he said. "That makes them his. This is theft." She was forced to bring everything back, but the look she gave me told me she wasn't done. Not by a long shot. That same evening, Derek showed up again. "Man, you need to chill," he said, trying to act like he hadn't just helped himself to my house and my life. "Brianna's just trying to protect herself. She was worried you'd try to hide stuff, so she grabbed some of it first. Then she should have talked to her lawyer, not stolen from me." "Look," he said, "why don't we all just share the place until the divorce is final? It's big enough for the three of us." I stared at him, stunned. "You want me to let you move in with my wife while she divorces me? So the two of you can play house in my home?" He hesitated. "Well, when you say it like that, it sounds kind of messed up." "That's because it is messed up, Derek." He frowned. "You're being unreasonable." That's when I snapped. "I'm being unreasonable? You're eating my food, sleeping in my bed, and helping yourself to my stuff, and I'm the problem?" He had the nerve to look offended. "You don't need to yell. It's not that serious." "Get off my property," I said, "or I call the cops." Again. I could see it in his face. He was already scheming. I knew this wasn't over. Sure enough, that weekend, I went out of town to visit my mom for her birthday. I was gone from Friday through Sunday. When I got back Sunday night around 9, I stepped into a disaster. The place reeked of weed. Empty beer bottles were everywhere. The guest room closet, full of Derek's clothes. He'd moved back in behind my back. I stood in the middle of my living room, trying to process the mess, when Brianna walked out of the bathroom in nothing but a towel. "Oh, you're home early. It's 9 p.m. on Sunday. I told you I'd be back this evening." She tried to play it off. Derek just needed a place to crash for the weekend. "His stuff's unpacked in the guest room," I pointed out. Just then, Derek came strolling out of the kitchen, eating one of my sandwiches. "Hey man, hope you don't mind. We got hungry." That's when I noticed my 65-inch Samsung TV was missing from the living room wall. "Where's the TV?" I asked. Brianna blinked. "What TV?" "The one that was mounted right here. The giant screen I bought last year." They looked at each other like kids caught stealing candy. "I don't know what you mean," she said. I checked my security app. All the indoor cameras? Disconnected. But the exterior ones were still up and running. Sure enough, there was footage of Derek loading the TV into a pickup truck on Saturday morning. "You guys seriously think I'm an idiot? You know I have cameras, right?" I played the video on my phone. Derek went pale. "Oh, that TV. Yeah, I was just keeping it safe." "Safe? From what?" He fumbled. "You know, break-ins. At my friend's place." Brianna jumped in. "Yeah, Derek was worried about burglars while you were gone. We thought it was safer at his place." They really thought I'd fall for that. I called the police again. Same officer showed up. At this point, we were practically buddies. "Evening, Mr. Wilson," he said with a tired sigh. "What now?" I handed him my phone. He watched the clip, then turned to Derek. "So your defense is you stole the TV protected?" Derek shrugged. "It wasn't like that exactly." The officer just shook his head. "All right, let's get the TV back." The officer just let out a long sigh. "Son, that's theft. Now where's the TV?" Derek had no choice but to call up his buddy and get him to bring my television back. It took nearly 3 hours. His friend was furious, understandably so, about making a late-night crosstown drive on a Sunday. But that wasn't even the worst of it. While waiting, I walked through the house to take inventory. My coffee machine? Vanished. The air fryer? Gone. My prized whiskey collection? Wiped out. A good chunk of my garage tools? Missing. These two had been slowly ransacking the place the entire weekend. I turned to the officer. "I need to add more items to the theft report." Derek started to sweat. "Wait! Hold on. We can figure this out." "Nope. We're past talking." By the end of it, both Derek and Brianna were staring down multiple charges. And get this, Derek's buddy refused to bring back anything else. "I'm not getting mixed up in your mess, man," he told him and left. That left Derek making 4 separate trips to return my belongings, getting more annoyed and ashamed each time. On the final trip, he was carrying back the whiskey bottles. One slipped out of his hand and shattered on the driveway, and $180 bottle of Meline. Gone. He smirked. "Oops." I turned to the cop. "You saw that, right? That's property damage." The officer nodded. "I saw it." That smirk vanished in a heartbeat. Final update. It's over. And wow, karma really did its job. The theft charges held. Derek took a plea deal to avoid jail, but still got slapped with 18 months probation and had to cough up over $2,000 in restitution, including the cost of the broken whiskey. But here's where it gets wild. Turns out Derek was pulling the same stunt elsewhere. That friend who helped haul my TV, he started wondering where Derek got the cash for all his fancy new gadgets. A couple calls later, and boom, Derek was facing even more theft charges from his previous living situation. Turns out this guy had a pattern. Move in as a temporary guest, then slowly strip the place clean while the homeowner's not looking. A serial leech and petty thief. With the new charges, his probation was revoked. Now he's looking at actual jail time. And Brianna? Oh! She tried the sympathy act. Claimed I was financially abusive for not letting her boyfriend shack up in my home. Her family wasn't having it. Her father actually called me to apologize. I didn't raise her to behave like this. It's disgraceful. The divorce came through last week. Clean break. No alimony. Thanks to our state still recognizing adultery. Asset division was minimal since most things were in my name. She walked away with her car, her clothes, and a few $1,000s from savings. She's now living in a cramped studio across town. Derek? Sitting in county lockup, waiting to hear how long he's staying there. And the cherry on top? Remember how Derek was using my gym membership? He'd been running his mouth there, bragging about his upgrade in lifestyle. One of the trainers knew me and asked about it. I laid out the whole saga. Word spread. Derek got banned from the gym. Same thing happened at the bars he used to frequent. Once people found out what he'd done, lying, stealing, mooching, they wanted nothing to do with him. I actually ran into Brianna at the grocery store a couple days ago. She looked rough, like someone who bet everything and lost. She tried to speak, but I just walked past her. Nothing left to say. The house is peaceful again. I've changed the locks, updated all the security codes, and honestly, I love living alone. Thinking about getting a dog now. My lawyer says Derek might try to pull a Hail Mary and sue me for emotional distress. Good luck collecting anything when you're behind bars. Oh, and Derek's buddy, the one who helped him steal the TV, reached out to me on Facebook, apologized, and warned me that Derek had been running his mouth about getting back at me once he got out. I forwarded that message straight to his probation officer. Making threats against a witness? That's another violation. Derek's lawyer actually contacted mine, begging to cut some kind of deal to keep him out of more trouble. My response? He should have thought of that before he tried to rob me blind. Do I feel guilty about how it all turned out? Not in the slightest. They thought they could rob me, humiliate me, and walk away smiling. Instead, Derek's locked up, Brianna's alone and broke, and I'm still standing stronger than ever. Funny how justice sometimes works out perfectly. Edit for those asking. Yes, I'm keeping the house. Yes, I'm probably getting that dog. And no, I don't feel 1 ounce of sympathy. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.